Biblically Centered Kids.
Wow, it's Wednesday. My name is Miss Danika. Welcome back to the Biblically Centered Kids podcast. Today is February 14th, 2024, and there is so much going on today. First off, today is Valentine's Day. So exciting! Are you exchanging Valentines, or did you make a card for someone else? Maybe you got some chocolates today. Maybe you'll have a sweet treat later this afternoon. Whatever it is, be sure to tell your friends and family how much you love them today on Valentine's Day. Do you even know why we celebrate Valentine's Day?
I feel love.
Well, Saint Valentine was a priest and a physician. The tradition of exchanging greetings of love on Valentine's Day is based on the legend that Valentine himself signed a letter to his jailer's daughter with whom he had fallen in love. And he signed that letter from your Valentine. So, when we say Happy Valentine's Day, we can think about him. Today is also Ash Wednesday, which marks the first day of Lent. Lent is the time period 40 days before Easter. And Easter, you know, is when we celebrate Jesus' death and resurrection. So it's important that Jesus was born, but it's also just as important that Jesus died and rose again for us and for our sins so we could be made right with God. So this is the time of year in the spring. Everything is renewing and being brought back to life, that we also remember Christ, who was brought back to life for us. And so it also reminds us of the need of reconciliation with God, which is being made right with God again, or being forgiven of our sins. So lots of people during Lent fast from various things to imitate Jesus's fast in the wilderness. Do you remember learning about that story a few weeks ago? Jesus in the wilderness, he fasted so that he could concentrate on God and on preparing himself for the ministry he was entering. So that is kind of what Lent represents. A few more things that happened February 14th, long ago. In 1859, the state of Oregon was admitted as the 33rd U.S. state. So if you've learned some of the states, or if you're from Oregon, Oregon became a state in 1859. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell applied for a patent for the telephone.
Hello!
So if you've ever talked on a telephone to anyone, we can thank Alexander Graham Bell. In 1912, Arizona was admitted as the 48th U.S. state, and it was the last contiguous U.S. state. Contiguous means all joined together. So if you know, the United States has 50 states, 48 of those are all connected together. And then we have Hawaii and Alaska that are not connected. They are not contiguous. So Arizona completed kind of those states that are all stuck together. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed those fun facts. Do you remember what virtue we're learning about this week? That's right. This week we're learning all about wisdom. Virtue G says, we gain wisdom by asking God for instruction on what is right. So, every time you learn a new fun fact or information, you're gaining wisdom that might just come in handy in the future. All right, today we're going to play a fun new game. This game is called Name It. Name it. Did you know that every word we say or use is a different type of word? We have nouns, verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and more. And since we're practicing gaining wisdom this week, we're going to learn about these types of words in our game. So I'm going to go over the definition of each of these types of words, and then we're going to think of more words that we know that fit that description. Okay, you will catch on quick. I just know it. So, to begin, we're going to think of nouns. A noun is a word used to name a person, place, thing, activity, or idea. So first, let's think of some people. Our story yesterday was about Solomon. That's a noun. His name is a noun, Solomon. Do you remember who his father was? David. Yes, that's also a noun. What about the Queen of Sheba that visited him? Yep, that's another noun. Can you think of any more people? It could be their actual name, or their job, or title. So, I'm Miss Danika. That's a noun. What's your name? That's also a noun. What about your parents or siblings? Your teacher? Your pastor? What about just their title, like policeman or mailman? Those are all nouns. See how much you're learning? All right, let's try to think of some other nouns. What about places? What state do you live in? That's a noun. Where are some places that you like to go? Those are probably all nouns. Are there restaurants that you drive by or parks that you go to? Those are all nouns. Now, what about things? Just look around you. What is a thing next to you? Next to me, I have a marker next to me. That is a noun. I have my cup of water next to me. That is a noun. I see a ball cap. That's a noun. I'm working on a computer. That's a noun. See? There are so many different types of nouns. Now let's think about ideas. What about the virtue we are learning this week? Wisdom. That's a noun. So to recap, nouns are words used to name a person, place, thing, activity, or idea. All right, now we're going to try to list some adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe the qualities or states of being of nouns. So think about all the nouns we just listed. Solomon was wise. Wise is describing Solomon, so that's an adjective. What would be some words that would describe you? I would describe myself as being short. Short is an adjective. My hair is brown. Brown is an adjective. Have you ever tried hot chocolate? Most of the time it is hot. Hot is an adjective because the chocolate is hot. Are there any words that you could use to describe the food you eat? Some foods are mushy, or hard, or soft. What about a family member? Are they kind or gracious? There are tons of adjectives. Any word that is telling you about another word is an adjective. So red, blue, orange, short, tall, big, small. What are some words that describe other things? All right, the last type of word we're going to think about is verbs. Verbs are words that assert an action, show a state of being, link two words together, or help another verb. These types of words usually are about what you are doing. So what are you doing right now? Are you sitting, standing, walking, Those are all verbs. God asked Solomon what he wanted. Ask is a verb. What about meal times? Do you eat or drink? Those are also verbs. When you go outside, what are some things that you might do? You might run, skip, jump, walk, crawl. Those are all verbs because there's something that you do. Wow! Think about everything you just learned or that you just practiced. That was you gaining wisdom in our Name It game. It's important to know that there are different types of words and how to use them in sentences. I hope you really liked today's game and that you learned something new. I had a great time with you and I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm so glad that you're growing in wisdom. Until next time.